সুপ্রিয় দর্শক, বিজ্ঞাপন বিরতির পর আপনাদের সবাইকে আবারও স্বাগতম এনটিভি ইউরোপের রেগুলার প্রোগ্রাম কমিউনিটি ম্যাটার্সে। আমরা কথা বলছিলাম ব্রিটিশ বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটির অ্যাচিভমেন্ট এবং স্ট্রাগল নিয়ে। তো I was in my last segment I was asking you about the struggle that you face. Then you mentioned about few struggles that we have to work hard than rest of the people in order to achieve our goal. If I ask same question to you, Mr. Satish Chaudhary, because you've been involved with community campaigns, if I ask you the same question, what sort of struggle British Bangladeshi community face in order to achieve their goal or in order to reach their destination? What sort of struggle we face? You've been a community campaigner, so from your experience, can you give us some thought?
Yeah, so I'd say there's three things. One is there's a difference between power and influence. Bangladeshis have exceedingly been increasing the amount of influence that they have, whether it's through social media, whether it's having their own businesses and things like this, and what they're able to shape and change. In terms of the power structures, we've still got a long way to go. We've got 3 members of parliament who are MPs, which is an important influential role, but it's not necessarily in government at the moment. So what we need is people to be across all sectors. Like they need to be the producers in mainstream media outlets, newspapers, and as columnists, as journalists, as an anchor people, as producers in places like the BBC and so forth. But also, we're doing quite well in businesses, but there's various other power outlets where we need to be in. The second one is something called social capital, social networks. You can go for a degree and you can aspire for the middle class life, but there's a difference. When you have 2 people apply and one might be a white middle class person, one might be a Bangladeshi working class person who's got a degree. The Bangladeshi person might have got a better grade, but it's not always about racism. Sometimes it's about there's a different way of talking and engaging with people when you're entering into work. So you might have parents who really wanted their child to study law. And the whole thing, we want our kids to be accountants, doctors, lawyers. It's still happening, by the way. It's not this old thing that used to happen. I did research the other day, a focus group. This still happens within our communities to young ones, even when the parents are professionals. What happens is you could want your child to be a lawyer, but there's an entire process around it, whereas if you don't have these relationships, it's a much more of a challenge for them to get their training contract, to get into a magic circle or a silver circle law firm. So these things do matter. So our ways of engaging
social
with people,
capital is number
social
2.
Capital. Yeah, so this
How about
is
number 3?
Number 3 is we're still quite poor. This matters in terms of some families would struggle to buy, I used to meet loads of kids that used to go to school without having breakfast. That's, because of our, the levels of poverty we're in, it means that we might not buy or not know about healthy foods. This affects us. We have some of the highest levels of cholesterol related illnesses, diabetes, blood pressure, heart disease.
So you trying to say the lack of knowledge on food, or is that poverty?
Yeah, I mean food, particularly within our community. We enjoy food a little bit too much.
Fried chicken
exactly, the PFCs, and this is all an indication that actually our health, everything from you want to do well, you got to have sleep, you got to I got lots of bags under my eyes, it doesn't really help, but you got to have you got to be healthy, and we actually are not that healthy as a, you're nodding, right? We're not that healthy as a community, and this can be found up and down the country. And this is something that actually definitely affects the way in which we compete for things.
Makes sense. Thank you. So you are saying poverty and lack of understanding about food. Number 2 was social capital. And what was number
Networks
1?
And power structure. We need to
structure.
be intentionally going to the places where power and decisions are being made.
And you also differentiate between power and influence.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for this 3 point.
Thank you for coming back to me. Yes, thank you for coming back to me. This is the program, truly we need more hours, 45 minutes not enough.
Thank you for your feedback.
Achievement we still have some, because we have to tell. Look at the London Muslim Center. This is something, the example for whole Europe, we can tell to the Muslim, and especially where I lead Green Islamic Center, I already give example of this. It's whole, that's who done it, Bangladeshi. Also the charity, last year.
What are the struggles?
Yeah, charity, that's the finishing one, the charity one, they have achieved it. Bangladeshi is the people who have paid highest charity money in this country.
What are the
struggling? Yes, first of all, I will say is that lobby. I mean, in political way, we must think the lobbyist thing. Yeah, lobbyists must be very important.
Lobbying. So
yes, lobbying in even Bangladesh. Plus, because we from Bangladesh. Plus, we are British Bangladeshi, so we need to have a lobbying in Bangladesh plus in UK. It's the most important. Struggling every business. For example, I'm on the financial sector. Yeah, I mean, yesterday we had a meeting with the Bangladesh High Commission. Yeah, again we are reunioning as a association to fight for this. Yeah, how? So this is every business. For example, car industry, we haven't modernized the food. Truly, where they done it. So that's a struggling. Yeah. So BCA has to be organized this either a campaign or some sort of.
So are you trying to say we have to come out of this safe zone,
yes,
and then we have to renew
everything according to like nowadays is a technology world, 21st sector. We have to modernize on every sector. Whoever in this sector, that will be struggle. It's not going to be easy. For example, mine is financial. FCA. We are under FCA. Used to be FSA. Yeah. We don't know what tomorrow might be. Might be closed down. But end of the day, we still have to run the business. So that's a struggling.
So you are emphasizing on lobbying.
Yes.
And then also at the same time knowledge sharing.
To the each industry.
And also at the same time modernizing, keeping pace with 21st century world.
I mean, like technology, look, the phone, iPhone, I mean, next year will be another one. So we can't slip back,
Makes sense. Makes sense. What do you think, Mr. Abdullah? What are the struggles British Bangladeshi community face here in UK in order to achieve their goals?
I think we celebrate, I'm obviously very keen to celebrate the success of our community, but in doing that I see a lot of difficulties and prime
struggles.
Prime example will be, I said in the early segment, is now that with university, we did really well in Bangladeshi community in the 90s and early 2000s going to universities, but now I think what happened is low income families, children who are naturally gifted and talented, jara bachcha mane bag full of GCSE A-star, but going to universities, eta ekta birat somosya hobe karon 40,000 50,000 if you want to
tuition
do
fee.
Tuition fee. If you want to do medicine, is 6-year course of 70,000-80,000 pounds. Tarpore onek shomoy ache je now Bangladeshi community is not just in East London, they live in different areas. To live outside
all across UK.
To live outside the home, it's more expensive. So, and I did a focus group in Marbury School, and the most amazing thing happened there was that মেয়েরা বলছে যে আমি যদি ডিগ্রি করতে চাই আমার 60-70,000 pound cost যাবে আমি লোন আনতে হবো that's a lot of money and then my
আমাদের একটা ফোন কল আছে আসসালামু আলাইকুম কলার দয়া করে আপনার পরিচয় দিয়ে আপনার প্রশ্নটি করুন
ওয়া আলাইকুম সালাম
হ্যালো আপনার প্রশ্নটি করুন
Hello, I'm going to speak in English if that's okay.
Yes, certainly.
I just want to say this is a really great show. And
thank you.
Congratulations on having such an intelligent and diverse panel.
Thank you.
My name's Asif and I live in Greenwich and I'm 23 and from Thamesmead, and usually the programs I see on TV, they're just focused on education and achievement in the same industries that we've always been in, whether that's catering or clothes manufacturing. And there isn't usually a lot of programs on that look towards the future and what other things young people can achieve in. So I think it's great that you're talking about the willingness to take risks and experiment, because I think that's something that's been lacking for a while, but I think it's changing now, and that's great. So that's really encouraging about the future.
Thank you, Asif. Do you have any question for us?
Yeah, I don't actually have any questions. I'd just like to sort of tell you a bit about my experience.
If you can tell us very briefly, we are running out of time. If you can tell us very briefly.
No problem. Okay, so I studied law, and in my third year I decided that actually it wasn't a career that I wanted to pursue, and there was a lot of raised eyebrows around it. And I decided I want to work in marketing in tech companies, and in the last 20 months I've spent just under 2 million on Facebook advertising, and helped generate 5 million in revenue. So, you know, changing my career and taking the risk really paid off, even if, you know, the community around me wasn't so supportive at the time. So I think it's great you're talking about young people having the freedom to take risks.
Excellent.
So you have taken risk. You have gone to a different area that we were emphasizing, that we have to keep pace with 21st century, and looks like you have achieved a significant milestone.
Yeah,
Thank you, Asif. So struggle, we were talking about struggle, and this gentleman, clearly he has changed his career path, and he has, you know, he has really achieved.
He's also where I live, Greenwich.
Before I come to struggle, you know, just on that, I want to say, today the news has come out. One of the most senior directors of Snapchat is a Bangladeshi in America, and he has just received £150 million in dividend. So Bangladeshis around the world, you know, I did this list one in 2014, 10 Bangladeshi inspirations around the world.
What are the struggles, please?
The struggle. Okay, I was going to say, I want to talk about success. So we talked about, you know, university. Tuition fee is going to be the biggest struggle for the enrichment of Bangladeshi students, the next generation. So unless your mum and dad are wealthy, you're not going to go to the best university. So, you know, my big thing is this, that we as a community need to now focus on making sure we get our money's worth. So that means we start to save for our children's education, and that when they do go to university, amra cheshta kori ora jabe je university degree paper ta is as worthy as the education they've received. So that's going to be the biggest issue. And then you obviously now with Brexit, with uncertainty, the competitiveness in this country will become greater. To succeed is, you know, you need to now compete in a different level. You know, before the free market economy in terms of Europe, we had a chance to go and work in Europe, and it's not going to be so easy now. And God knows what's going to happen in America.
So I think you're trying to say British Bangladeshi community should prepare for the worst case scenario.
We also as a Bangladeshi community need to learn from our mistakes from the catering industry by not preparing, but not advancedly thinking about diversifying our work staff and our style of a restaurant and the technology incorporated into a restaurant. So now we have to do it for our own lifestyle as well. You know, we talked about eating better to live better, right? Now we need to sort of make our money go further by making sure we go to the best university. And obviously we have large...
What are the other struggles?
The other struggles will be around...
Give me one of
the other sort of small struggle will be that as we as a community become rich and also diversify, we sometimes might also be a challenge between our identity. You know, we as Bangladeshis in the 70s, 80s, we lived in a certain area where we had a kinship. As we now move away, we will start to sort of dilute our identity.
Thank you very much. How can we overcome the struggle? If you can be very brief, how can we overcome? I'm sorry, whenever I come to you, I always say that try to be brief. How can we overcome the struggle that we face?
I think, as Abdul Bhai said, you know, we have to prepare from now. We have to look at what's
preparation. Number one, number two. Yeah.
Yes, and taking action. I think.
Action.
Yes.
Okay.
Preparation and action.
So, okay. First, take preparation, and number two is to take action. That's how we can
implementing things. If you're like quite, you know, behind with things, then, you know, you start implementing systems and, you know, everything else.
Thank you. How about you? Very quickly.
Very quickly. So even though I admire most of what Abdullah says most of the time, degrees are not also the only way. I'm someone.
Okay. So how can we overcome?
So just going back to technology, and unlike what we heard from the gentleman who called Asif, actually making sure that you've got a right set of skills that can be transferable.
Right set of skill. How about give me? How can we overcome this struggle? Just give me one reason. We are running out of time.
Yeah, of course. I mean, every sector, what Abdul was saying, every sector we need to have a sort of a set up workshop, yeah.
Workshop.
Workshop, and knowing that, you know, what's
knowledge. So you're emphasizing on knowledge.
Okay,
thank you very much. How can we overcome the struggle that we face? Give me one.
As a community coming together, honestly.
Community coming together. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We are running out of time. Thank you very much for your thought. Thank you for sharing, you know, your experience. Dear viewers, আমরা আজকে দেখছিলাম NTV ইউরোপের কমিউনিটি ম্যাটার্স। আমরা কথা বলছিলাম ব্রিটিশ বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটির অ্যাচিভমেন্ট এবং স্ট্রাগল নিয়ে। আগামী সপ্তাহে আবারও আপনাদের সাথে দেখা হবে। সেই পর্যন্ত ভালো থাকবেন, সুস্থ থাকবেন। থ্যাংক ইউ অ্যান্ড টেক কেয়ার।